Cadence POV.
I was right. Infiltrating the Token Moon hideout was as easy as we anticipated because they had indeed prepared to attack at dawn. The trip took us exactly 40 minutes, being a little far from Griffinhowl Mansion, but we got there in good time. The whole time I continued to repeat a prayer in my mind, pleading with the Moon Goddess to keep my son and Larissa safe. I prayed neither of them had been harmed in any way, and I tried to keep my faith strong no matter how helpless I felt. As soon as we arrived, I tossed aside all the doubt and fear in my mind and prepared for battle. This was not the time to lament and worry. It was the time to save my family and defeat that bastard once and for all. I turned to Hunter. You know the plan. Scope through the building and destroy any weapons you can find so we can cut them off at the knees. Then meet us inside. We only have 10 minutes tops before we are detected, so make it count. He gave a stiff bow and moved closer to me. Be careful, he whispered. Don't die on me either. We exchanged looks one last time and then we parted, my men close behind me. With my wolf vision, I looked through the empty courtyard behind the gate. I counted 6 guards in total. It would not be a problem getting past them as they were asleep. I turned to the Gemini. Now. The rest of us stayed close behind as they put on gas masks and jumped over the gates. The guards were huddled in one spot so the fumes knocked them out quickly and effectively. They returned to the gates and pulled it open. Go in, find the guard quarters and spread the fumes there as well. We need to knock a lot of them out as we're outnumbered. Yes, Alpha. As the Gemini raced into the mansion, I directed my men, and together, we snapped the necks of the unconscious men to make sure they were dead. Then we all filed inside. I turned to the last person I was meant to send off, a smallish maid I had seen with Larissa on several occasions. She had insisted on joining us on the grounds that she'd be able to find Declan faster under the guise of blending in as a maid. I tried to dissuade her, but she would not budge. You know what to do, I said. Yes, Alpha, she nodded readily. I won't let you down. She picked up her skirts and raced up the stairs. As soon as she was gone, I began to separate my men. But we hadn't even gotten far when we heard the deafening sound of a warning bell. We had been detected. Immediately, chaos descended. Guards descended from both sides of the stairs and the rooms behind us, all of them shifting to their wolf form. And they were all rushing towards us. Hold! I yelled over the noise, my arms spread wide to stop my men from moving. We had to stick to the plan. The crowd of werewolves had transformed fully now, their claws out as they got even closer to us. Hold! Come on. I waited with bated breath. As soon as I caught sight of the Gemini at the top of the stairs, I yelled to my men. Now! We jumped out of the way as Jacob dropped the 2 large smoke bombs to the ground floor. Immediately, thick white fumes filled up the air, temporarily blinding the wolf vision of the army of werewolves. I knew it would affect them more because they were transformed fully, and I was grateful things were going according to plan. We tore through the crowd, slashing the necks of the men who were still trying to adjust their eyesight. When we finally outnumbered them, I left my men to complete the job as I raced up the stairs and began to search for Larissa. I knew the bastard would not let her out of his sight, so I needed to find him. As I raced past screaming servants and children who were ducking for safety, I yelled out Larissa's name. But there was no answer. My chest began to thump wildly, and I prayed that she was somewhere in this house and not someplace else with that bastard. I climbed through the 6th flight of stairs to the top floor, still screaming out her name. I had almost given up when I heard a scream in the distance. It was coming from the floor below me. I raced down like my life depended on it because it did. Again, I heard a woman scream. No! Stop! I knew that voice anywhere. Larissa. Instead of using the stairs, I scaled the wall down to the next floor and jumped at the door. With all the strength I could muster, I kicked down the door and rushed in. The sight that met me sent fiery rage coursing through my veins. Stefan was tearing off Larissa's dress, forcing her to him, his trousers pulled down and his dick exposed. The bastard was trying to rape her. Get the fuck away from her! My wolf roared in anger. I lunged forward before he had the chance to react, aiming a hard kick to his head and sending him sprawling. He rolled on the floor, writhing in pain. Larissa! I yelled, pulling her to me in a tight hug. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I mumbled into her hair. Are you okay? She nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. I'm sorry too. I love you so much, Caden. She hugged me again. I melted in her embrace for a few seconds before I pulled away. It wasn't over yet. I had one more thing to take care of. My gaze moved toward Stefan, who was struggling to his feet, a murderous look on his face. Quickly, I kissed Larissa's forehead. Go, I said to her. Run as fast as you can and don't stop. Hunter is waiting for you beyond the gates. I don't want to leave you. You have to. I can't lose you again. Just go, find Declan. He's with one of the maids. They should be heading in Hunter's direction as we speak, so join them. Now. I released her hand and pushed her toward the door. Caden. Her eyes were teary. Go! From the corner of my eyes, I could see Stefan running towards me. Once Larissa disappeared from sight, I faced him, transforming to my wolf form as well. This would not be one of those fights where the villain would circle round whilst giving a speech. I did not have time for that shit, nor would I dare give him the chance. I was here to kill. For Declan. For Larissa. For Griffinhowl. With a loud growl, I jumped high in the air and slashed my claws into his face.
Larissa's POV.
My heart felt like it was about to burst as I ran down the stairs. Tears sprung to my eyes, but I did not stop running. I was still shaken from almost being raped by Stefan. That bastard. I hated him so much. As I made my way past the commotion and fighting, I prayed to the moon goddess to protect Caden. Stefan was a bastard, but I knew how dangerous he was. The thought of losing Caden was too much to bear. I didn't want to leave him, but I had no choice. I ran until I was outdoors. My eyes darted left and right in search of anyone I recognized, but I was lost. As I took a sharp turn in the courtyard, I bumped into a large figure with turned out to be a cloaked Gwen. Declan huddled into her. "Mommy!" he screamed when he saw me. I cried out in joy and hugged him tight when he jumped into my arms. I missed him so much. I pulled away to check his body for any marks, but he was fine. I said a silent prayer to the goddess for keeping him safe. Then I turned to Gwen. Before I could say anything, she jumped at me in a tight hug. God, Larissa. I was so worried when I heard you went to sacrifice yourself in place of Declan. What were you thinking? Tears stood in her eyes. Do you know how worried I was? You, in the clutches of this dangerous bastard, he could have killed you. I pulled her into a hug, tears spilling from my eyes. I'm so sorry. I whimpered. I've been such an ass to you for the past few days, and it's fine, Larissa. I get it. You were under so much stress. A lot happened. You don't need to apologize. She pulled away when she realized a part of my chest was bare. She quickly wrapped her cloak around me. I hugged her again. She tugged at my arm urgently. We need to leave. It's not safe here. The Alpha's beta is waiting outside for us. Come on. I scooped Declan into my arms and followed behind her, and we ran. We were almost at the gate when I stopped. What's wrong? Gwen asked. I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. I couldn't do it. I can't leave Caden, I can't. I thought I could do it, but I won't leave him. Larissa. I love him, Gwen. And no one has ever loved me as much as he does. He's the best thing that ever happened to me, and I can't bring myself to abandon him here, not knowing if he's going to walk out alive. I want to be there for him, help him in any way. I can't leave. Gwen looked fearful. But you're pregnant. What could you possibly do? My hand rubbed my stomach. I won't let this baby grow up without a father. I'll be fine. But I have to know he's okay. I wiped the tears off my face and handed Declan back to her. Take him. Go. I'm going back in. She stared at me. Are you sure? I nodded. I will not let Stefan destroy the life I have built. I love Caden, and I'm not letting him go. I pushed her toward the gates and hugged them once more before I raced back into the mansion. Praying that Caden was safe, I raced back to the room I had come from. I crossed a room which looked to be an armory, and I went in search of any kind of weapon I could use. I knew I did not stand a chance against Stefan, but I did not want to be unarmed. I finally laid eyes on a small dagger. I let out a loud yelp when I picked it up, realizing it was made of silver. I stared at the large burn on my palm, deciding if I should take it. Finally, I picked it up again. Silver would kill instantly. I could take the burn. As I reached the room, I heard a loud gunshot and then a deafening groan. No. Please, no. I walked in. Caden was clutching his abdomen, blood spurting out in all directions. He staggered on his feet, his eyes wide. As soon as he saw me, he jumped at Stefan and silently motioned me to leave. I stared on, rage filling my chest. Stefan had brought a gun to a physical combat, the coward. I watched fearfully as Stefan overpowered Caden, slashing his claws through Caden. He was going to kill him. "Stefan!" I yelled from the bottom of my lungs. He froze just as he was about to deal Caden a fatal blow. I released the breath I was holding. Stefan let out a laugh as he staggered to where I stood. He was bloody from head to toe, blood leaking from gashes in his skin. "Oh, Larissa. I knew you would come back to me." "Larissa, run." Caden wheezed from behind. He tried to crawl forward, but he was too weak. I prepared myself for what I was about to do, shuffling backwards as Stefan came even closer. When he was inches away from me, I raised a hand up to slap his face, but he caught it easily. Immediately, I raised my other hand which held the silver knife, digging it deep into his temple. He did not see it coming. I watched his eyes widen as he stumbled over his feet. His lips moved as if he was trying to speak, but blood spurted out instead. The whites of his eyes slowly turned red and he fell to the floor in a heap. My heart was thundering in my ears as I watched Stefan writhe on the floor. Bitter tears filled my eyes at the memory of everything I had gone through in his hands. I hated him so much. I wanted him dead. Letting out a loud scream, I kicked the knife deeper into his temple. Deeper. And deeper. Until he breathed his last. I swiped the tears out of my eyes and rushed to Caden. "Stay with me, please," I begged. I pressed the open wound in his abdomen and kissed his forehead. "Larissa?" His voice was drowsy. Low. "I'm here, baby. I'm fine. Declan is safe. You have to pull through, okay? We have this little one to think about too." I placed his hand on my stomach and laughed through the tears when I saw him crack a smile. "You were so brave, Issa, so brave." I kissed his forehead. "Stay with me. Please. Stay, okay? I love you so much." The tears streamed down my face. I couldn't lose him. I just couldn't. "Help!" I yelled, hoping someone would hear me. I mind-linked Gwen, telling her to bring Hunter, but I didn't know if she got the message. "I'm so sorry," I heard Caden whisper. "I said so many horrible things to you. So many things I didn't mean. None of it was your fault, Issa. I'm so sorry." "I'm sorry too. I also said things I shouldn't have. We'll work it out, we always do. You have to be okay for us, hmm? We'll work it out." He nodded drowsily. I watched fearfully as his eyes began to close shut. "Caden." I shook him. "Caden." Moments later, I heard footsteps rush into the room and my heart leaped when I saw Hunter race inside. Caden was completely unconscious by now. "Hurry!"
Caden's POV.
The room was silent as Larissa and I stood hand in hand, watching Amaya sign the divorce papers in the corner of the study. Larissa's hand was placed over mine, caressing softly as we waited. Soon, Amaya flipped through the last page and then stood. She walked in our direction tentatively and then handed me the papers. When she looked up at me, an apologetic look was apparent in her eyes. I took the papers from her and looked through them to make sure. Everything was intact. Larissa smiled gently and rubbed my arm. It had been 2 weeks since the huge battle. Larissa had stayed by my side every day until the gunshot wound healed. A few days after that, Amaya came to see me. I was so mad that I had the guards send her away. But she kept coming anyway, begging for a chance. Larissa convinced me to see her finally, and it turned out that she was here to sign the papers. I had insisted Larissa be here because it was an important moment for the both of us. "I'm sorry." Amaya spoke up, her voice hoarse. It was not the first time she was apologizing, and I had found it difficult to forgive her, but after Larissa spoke to me, it did not hurt so much anymore to be in her presence. "I'm sorry for everything," Amaya continued. She turned to Larissa. "I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I ruined your wedding. I was just so jealous of you. You're a good person, Larissa. More than I'll ever be, and you're a better mother to my own son. I understand now what Caden sees in you. I'm sorry, again." "It's okay." Larissa nodded. Amaya took a deep breath and continued. "I know I've been a terrible person, and I don't deserve to even stand in front of you, but I beg you, please, if you could let me see Declan once in a while, I would be eternally grateful. I won't fight for custody, because I don't have what it takes to take care of a child, but I want to be in his life, get to know him, to make up for all my years of absence." Larissa and I exchanged looks, and then she gave my arm a gentle squeeze and smiled. A part of me wanted to refuse Amaya as the memories came rushing back, but I did not want to deprive Declan of his biological mother. And Amaya seemed remorseful. I could see the pain and regret in her eyes. "It's okay," I finally said. "We can schedule visitation days. I won't stop you from seeing him. You are his mother, after all. Just don't hurt him again." She nodded. "I won't, I promise. Thank you, Caden. Thank you so much. I don't deserve your kindness," she whimpered, tears filling her eyes. "After all the hurt I caused you, I don't deserve it. Thank you." I looked on at her. I waited for the anger, for the hate to consume me. But it never came. Larissa was right. Forgiveness took a huge weight off your chest. I carried so much anger and bitterness against you in my heart for years. I let it consume me. I let it change me. And when you came back, I felt the old me slowly drifting back, and it almost cost me my family. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be that person. So, I forgive you, Amaya. I forgive you for everything." Tears streamed down her face as she thanked me again. She gave a friendly nod to Larissa and I before finally exiting the room. For the first time, I felt my chest relax completely. I could breathe. I was fine. And it was the best feeling ever. "That was amazing," Larissa said as soon as the door clicked shut. "I'm so glad everything finally worked out." I wasn't listening anymore because I was getting on one knee. When Larissa turned around, she gasped. A small box which contained the ring I had proposed with weeks ago was open. "Larissa," I spoke up. "I know we have been in this position before, but to me it feels like the first time. Over these last few weeks we faced so many hurdles that would either make or break our relationship, but it only made me more certain that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. I love you, Elisa. I love you even more each passing day. I love everything about you. I want a redo of our relationship. A fresh page. I promise to be a good father to our unborn child. I promise to make you the happiest woman alive from this point onward. Will you marry me?" Tears ran down her cheeks as she nodded. "I would love nothing more than to be your wife, Caden." A wide grin lit up my face and I slowly put the ring on her finger. We both stared at it in silence for a while, as though in disbelief, and then all of a sudden we started to yell in excitement. "Can you believe this?" "No. Can you?" "No, it's wonderful. I love you so much." "I love you too." We both burst into loud laughter and began to dance around the room, and I watched her beautiful face glow with joy. As I pulled her closer and kissed her, I knew there was absolutely no one I would rather spend the rest of my days with.
Larissa's POV.
"Richard!" I called out to my brother as he emerged from the front door. "Over here." A bright smile pulled at his lips as he sighted me, and he quickly made his way over to me and enveloped me in a hug. "The baby's growing so fast." He laughed, being extra careful not to squeeze my huge belly too tight. I laughed. "I know, right?" I said, struggling to speak over the loud music. We were in the banquet hall of the mansion where my wedding reception was taking place. It still felt like a dream to me, and every now and again I would pinch my hand just to make sure I wasn't dreaming. Richard and I moved to a corner of the hall and began to chat. It had been almost a week since I was reunited with my family, and I missed them all so much. Caden had made it a huge surprise. One afternoon he had just driven off and returned hours later with my parents, my brother, and my best friend Chloe in the backseat. I was so shocked I could hardly breathe. I did not remember the last time I saw them, and I was so excited. After a teary reunion and a small party to celebrate, Caden insisted they all stay with us until the wedding. I was still chatting with Richard when my parents approached us. There were huge smiles on their faces, and I laughed, knowing something was up. "What's going on?" I laughed. "You both have that look." Mom chuckled, walking to me and leading me to the door. "We have a surprise for you." "Really?" They nodded. I waited expectantly as the doors opened and two people walked in. At first I could not recognize them, but as soon as I did, I rushed to them, nearly bursting with excitement. "Joy! Killian!" They both hugged me. "Miss Larissa. It's so good to see you." It had been so long since I saw them both, and I could barely recognize them. Joy, my handmaid when I was Luna at Token Moon, and Killian, the stable boy who had saved my life. Tears of gratitude filled my eyes. "I never thanked you properly for saving my life. Thank you, again. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for you." Killian waved it off with a smile. "It was an honor, Miss Larissa. I'm just so glad you're happy." I spent the next hour chatting and catching up with my family and friends. Joy and Killian informed me that they were married now, and we all cheered them on and made a toast. Caden had also introduced me to his sister, Elizabeth. Everything was perfect. Later on, as I sat watching them mingle and laugh, my heart was bursting with so much happiness. I thought I knew what happiness was, but this was the peak of it. There was no malice, no tension. Even Amaya had come over a few hours ago to drop a wedding gift. Everything was perfect. All the people I loved and cared about were in the same room, chatting happily and getting to know each other. Declan was jumping and playing on my mother's lap as my parents cooed and talked to him. My two best friends, Gwen and Chloe, were chatting with Elizabeth and motioning towards a group of men, probably discussing love lives. Killian and Joy were drinking and talking with Hunter, Jackson, and the Gemini. Caden and Richard were engaged in an animated conversation, bursting into laughter every few minutes. If I were asked to paint a picture of contentment, this would be it. Tears of joy filled my eyes as I looked round the room. I believed now that happiness was attainable. I just never thought a moment like this would come. A tear slipped down my cheek and I wiped it off. When I looked up again, Caden was in front of me. He gave me a knowing look and kissed me lightly on my cheek, and then he pulled me to my feet. "Will you dance with me, Mrs. Larissa Griffin?" I chuckled playfully. "Of course, Mr. Griffin." Soft music began to play and Caden led me to the dance floor. As we swayed slowly to the music, he whispered in my ear, "You're so perfect. I love you." "I love you too, baby." He twirled me around playfully and then got on one knee, kissing my belly affectionately, and then he got back up and began to twirl me around. I could not hold back my laughter. The smile etched on my face was permanent this time. This moment was the one I'd been waiting for my whole life. I was genuinely happy. I was going to be a mother soon, and I was married to the love of my life. Happiness was freeing. It was beautiful, even more so than I imagined. I was surrounded by the most important people in my life, and nothing could be more perfect. I pulled Caden into a passionate kiss, after which I motioned everyone else to join us. And as we danced the night away, I knew I had just taken the first step into the best years of my life.